Darkseed is a strange point-and-click game. I've never been into point-and-clicks, but lately I've just had a hankering for some of those old horror ones from the 90s, and Darkseed is that. You play as Mike Dawson, which also happens to be the actual name of the dude playing Mike Dawson. A lot of the plot is you got a house. You just got this house, it's a pretty weird house, and you have a headache after having a dream that an alien embryo was implanted in your skull. One unfortunate thing about this game is the sound mixing is awful. The music is far too loud and the voice is getting drowned into it. Enough so that it feels like I'm also getting a headache. After exploring the house for a bit, the doorbell rings and it's the mailman who delivers a package. It's a baby doll that changes into some alien thing and then back to a baby doll. Don't worry, this will never come up again. Who sent us the baby doll and why? Best to forget about that now, unimportant. What is important, though, is clicking on everything, and I mean everything, to the point it is maddening. There are some times where it is legitimately upsetting to me how hidden the pixel items can be, and I'll give you an example. Here's the attic. There is a pocket watch here you can pick up, and I'll give you a few seconds to find it. Go ahead and look and pause the video if you want. I'll wait a bit. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Did you find it? Yeah? I'll point it out now. It's right here. Right fucking here. The same color as the floorboard. I thought it was the floor. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Now, most of the stuff you can figure out. It's just there's a few that you would never figure out without a guide or clicking on absolutely every pixel. Also, like a lot of 90s point-and-click games, you need to empty your mind of logic. Throw that shit out the window. There's a specific way to use items and you must use them that way even if it doesn't make sense. Like, at one point you pour scotch in your car to fill it up, and you steal a gun from the police station, a gun that is hanging on the wall for some reason, and you just steal that. Another thing to note is Mike Dawson is a really weird guy. He talks in a weird way, and while he is a writer, I don't think this excuses his strangeness. I'll give an example.
An old library, a venerable repository of knowledge. It guards its bounty behind a handsomely decorated structure. The water feels so cool and refreshing.
He also kinda has a crush on the librarian, like he doesn't act on it, he just kind of stares. But this is important information.
She's an extremely beautiful woman. She doesn't seem to notice me staring at her.
Now the big twist of the game is that the person who previously owned the house was researching aliens, known as the Ancients, and it turns out you do have an embryo in your head, and stepping through the mirror leads to a parallel world that is kind of the same as his, but also different. Things are just weird and dark and twisted, and it's called the Dark World. And in many ways, it's kind of the upside down from Stranger Things, where like the places from Mike's world are there, but they're all scary versions of it. In the Dark World, sometimes things you do affect the things in the real world too, only sometimes. And also, if you die there, you die in the real world. The art here is interesting and is made by H.R. Geiger, and it's probably my favorite thing about this game. At some point, we end up in prison for digging up graves to find clues, and by telling the police we know Dilbert, our neighbor, who is a lawyer, they let us go. So we go hang out with Dilbert, which was very short and awkward.
Boy, that's smooth. Thanks for coming by, Mike.
This allows us to get the stick to throw it so that the Dark World dog will get out of our way, so we can go and talk to the Dark World cop. And he looks like some sort of gimp, and his voice is not what I would expect.
So that's where my gun went. You're going to rot for a few centuries, human.
And he's upset we stole the gun, which we did in the real world, and hid the items under a pillow in the real world so that when he arrests us, we'll be able to grab those items in the Dark World. At last, you meet the Keeper of the Scrolls, who has been communicating with you through the radio in the real world, and since my name is also Michael, when she talks, it is weird to my brain.
Greetings, Michael. I've been sending you messages over the radio. The ancients have implanted an alien embryo into your brain.
So you foil the ancients' plan, and it leaves me with questions that are never answered, but that doesn't matter. I'll explain why I don't think it matters soon. You then destroy the mirror and decide to sell the house, but as you open the door, there's the librarian from earlier, who you have barely talked to and should have no reason to know where you live.
I'm not really sure why I'm here, but I just felt drawn to you. I know it sounds strange, but what's even more strange is that I found these pills in my purse. It's a prescription filled in your name for relief of severe headaches.
I'm just beginning to understand.
And that's it. That's the game. The librarian is the Keeper of the Scrolls, of course. Of course, that makes sense. Now we move on to the sequel of Darkseid 2. Darkseid 2 is a weird sequel. I both like its art direction better and worse. Better in like the real world, I think I like that better, but in the Dark World, I do like how the first game looked better. Once again, we play as Mike Dawson, and this takes place 1 year after the events of the first game. He has moved back home with his mother, and he lives in his childhood bedroom. She's been taking care of him for about a year. A friend of his, who he had a crush on, has been murdered. Her name is Rita, and according to the sheriff, you are the #1 suspect. So the goal here is to clear your name. Now Mike does act differently here. One of my favorite YouTubers reviewed this game and called it a character assassination. And while I love him and think his video is better than mine, I disagree. You see, while Mike was a dork in the first game, he's a dork in a different way here, and I don't think it's character assassination. The best I can describe it is in game 1 he just talked like a weirdo, and in game 2 he has become a little kid in a man's body. He talks like he's 8 years old and it's very weird.
I'm going out, Mom. See you later.
That's right. Run off again while I'm talking to you. You're worse now than when you were a teenager.
But I've got things to do today, Mom.
Like what? You don't do a damn thing around here anymore.
By the way, Mom, thanks for taking care of me this past year.
I love you, Mike. I just want you to get well again.
But here's why I don't think it's a character assassination. I think this is the way Mike is actually usually, you know? I think Mike is usually this way. And in Darkseid 1, he was in a new place for the first time, on his own, trying to be as an adult as he could be. And this was him, like, emulating what he thought an adult acted like. That's why his words are so weird in Darkseid 1. He's imitating what he thinks an adult is like. And I don't think those were headache pills. I think they were something very different. See, playing Darkseid 1, I guess I just figured that Mike really was going into the Dark World. But playing Darkseid 2, I've come to the conclusion I don't think there is a Dark World. I think Mike has a lot of different mental issues going on, and the Dark World is in his imagination, which also helps explain why there are real-world equivalents of places in the Dark World.
Law enforcement officials are still bewildered about the murder of local librarian Rita Scanlon last week after the high school reunion.
I think Mike is a lonely and scared guy, and he is creating this Dark World thing so he can imagine himself as a hero saving the world. I think he forgot his pills at the library in Darkseid 1 and went on a weird imagination trip about the dark world until the librarian brought him his meds. And I don't believe she said, "Oh, these are your headache pills," and I don't believe she, was shown to be the keeper of the souls. I believe that's all in Mike's head. I just believe she saw that, oh, he really needs those pills. That weird guy needs those pills. And she saw, his address on the prescription and brought it there. That's what I think happened. I also believe Mike believes it to be real, but he is not a trustworthy narrator. Now, the game doesn't say any of this at all. This is just how I feel after playing the second one. You really only have one friend in this game, and his name is Jack, and the two of you periodically meet up to discuss what's going on in this game.
I was worried about my favorite recovering mental case.
Don't joke about my nervous breakdown, Jack. I thought you were my friend.
People do know you, but they either don't like you or they don't trust you, so you have very little friends. That, and like I said, you are a grown man who talks like an 8-year-old, so that probably has something to do with it as well. Well, okay, you do have one friend. The only person in town crazier than you. He's a full-grown man dressed like a Boy Scout, obsessed with conspiracy, and he's kind of homeless. His name is Slim, and he is also on the case to find out who murdered Rita.
You seem to be the only one who really understands what is going on. Who do you think killed Rita?
I think she was murdered by aliens from another dimension.
You know about the ancients. So the Keeper of the Scrolls was right. They were involved with Rita's death.
Of course it was the ancients. Who else could have committed such a horrible crime? It had to be the ancients.
Finally, someone else who knows about the dark world. I can't even confide in my mother or my best friend about this. I'm so glad I met you, Slim.
Or it might have been OJ working in cahoots with the Trilateral Commission, I'll betcha. Then again, it could have been the International Communist Conspiracy.
In Darkseid 1, I found Mike annoying, but in Darkseid 2, I see him as someone who probably needs a psychiatric hospital. I feel bad for the guy, and to make matters worse, he has no ability to pick up on social cues at all. He is truly an 8-year-old man. He does have Dr. Sims, a psychiatrist who uses hypnotherapy to help, but honestly, it doesn't seem to be the move. And whenever it happens, Mike just imagines the dark world. And even in his strange dark world flashbacks, he still has lines that feel so childish and baffling to me.
Come on, Rita. Give me a break. You know I've been sick?
Sick of people, you mean? You've become such a loner, Mike. You never want to go anywhere where there's people. You don't even want to visit any of my friends.
Not your reading group again. Always busy doing stuff for the library. You never have any time to spend alone with me anymore. Why can't it be like it was when we were in high school?
People change, Mike, but I don't care for the change that's come over you. You're drunk. I'll see you later. I have a friend to see.
Fine. Just walk away. I hope the boogeyman gets you.
There's actually a lot to explore in this game, and quite a lot of places to go, and the more you poke around, the more you find out that apparently Rita was sleeping with everyone. Everyone except you. And you were the one who had a crush on her. And I do mean everyone. The mayor, the sheriff, the mortician, a guy named Paul who does nothing all day but water his lawn. She was sleeping with all of them. And what is interesting is everyone seemed to know this, except you. This isn't a big secret. But it makes sense that you wouldn't know because, like I said, your character doesn't pick up on anything ever, and this just flew over his head.
Excuse me, Gargon.
I'm in the middle of my act. What do you want?
Do you work here?
Oh, that's just great. I'm doing my weightlifting act, and you can't even tell that I'm a performer. No wonder I'm going to lose my job.
The other strange thing about it is you always start off saying good things about her and defending her, but the more you find out that she slept with other people, suddenly your character starts saying more negative things, but some of them come off as pretty aggressive, like someone who would want to kill her. And every now and then, you have to go through the House of Mirrors to get to the Dark World. And it's this really shitty maze, and I hate it every time. It's just a little difficult to figure out where you can and can't go. Now, the Dark World is a little different this time. You meet 3 different keepers. The Keeper of the Light, who's about to die when you meet her.
The Dreketh guard disemboweled me, then threw me into the maze to die. You must hurry, or billions will die on both sides of the portal.
She wants you to go get her little light thingy if you can. Then you have the Keeper of the Souls. She watches over the dead and can bring you back to life 1 time if you die.
Hardly, Michael. You are still subject to the cold hand of death.
Then we have the Keeper of the Scrolls, who you already know.
Greetings, Michael. I am pleased to finally meet you in person.
You must collect items and fight off a monster that is being created. This monster needs 4 people to die to be able to get into the real world, and Rita was the first one. There is something called the Shapeshifter out in the real world, a killer who could be anybody, and we must stop them before it's too late. Also, I thought the people in the Dark World were the Ancients, but I guess not. Apparently the people in the Dark World have been conquered by these Ancients, and they are slaves. And only you, Mike Dawson, can save them. You are already a hero to the people of the Dark World for defeating the Ancients last time. And once again, there's no fucking way this is real. Mike Dawson, savior of the universe? This has gotta be in his head. Also, only sometimes did I need help figuring something out in the first game, but in the second game, there is no fucking way I believe you beat this without a guide or an insane amount of trial and error. What a load of shit the gameplay is here. My god. This one single-handedly has me burned out from point-and-click games, and it's like 4 times as long as the first one. I mean, one day I'll come back to them, but I need a break from them after this. Things continue to get more wild. A dude is dying and I give him Tylenol and he's chill now, and so he gives me a crossbow. And then a guy builds a gun into my arm, and once again, there is no way any of this is happening. Slim confronts Jimmy, who did kill someone, but not Rita, and you stand up to Jimmy and then get knocked out. Then Jack shows up and takes care of Jimmy. What's strange is that Slim says that it was you who saved him. And it was you who hit Jimmy.
They're gonna...
That does it, you loon. You stuck your nose where it doesn't belong, and now you're gonna pay for it.
Hey, stop picking on him, Jimmy. Put that gun away. Let's see if you're brave enough to take me on, man to man. Oh. Ah. I'm sorry I couldn't have done more. I guess I'm not much of a fighter.
What are you talking about, Mr. Dawson? Why, you knocked Jimmy Gardner out cold.
Shortly later, the sheriff tells you the mayor's been murdered, and that's 2 people the shapeshifter's murdered now. So you break into Paul's house. He's been watering his lawn this whole time, and inside his house is just wild, crazy shit. And you are convinced he is the shapeshifter. This is too weird. Plus, are these Dark World stuff in his house? Maybe.
Keep your unclean hands off my things, Mike. You're here to stop the messenger from coming, aren't you? Well, then you shall be the first to be cleansed.
Right, so as Paul is dying, he explains some things. He says he's part of, like, a cult, and so is Rita, and basically this book club she was part of was actually just some various cult stuff. Rita wasn't sleeping with people to get off, Rita was sleeping with people so that they would join the cult, which is why she didn't sleep with you, because you were kind of weird and childlike in the head, and she didn't want to get involved. And so she just told you it was a book club, which is another weird thing, because Rita's real life job is a librarian. And Mike had a huge crush on her. And then he moved away to a different town where he crushed on a different librarian. And the one from the Dark World who he's working with is called the Keeper of the Scrolls. In other words, Mike just has a thing for library ladies, and that's probably why he had a tiny crush on the librarian from the first game. Now Mike, he doesn't buy anything Paul said. In his mind, he killed the shapeshifter, so everything will be good now. Mike then breaks into Rita's home and starts reading her mail.
Dear Mom, not much happening lately. I went out with Mike Dawson the other night. He's a nice guy, but he has some emotional problems. In fact, he's starting to act like a sick puppy around me, and I'm afraid I'm gonna hurt him.
Why, that bitch. She was never really interested in me. She was just toying with me.
In a few minutes, I'm off to my reading group meeting across the street at Paul Cooper's house. Now, he's somebody I'm really attracted to. Tall, handsome, and good at fixing things around the house.
I'm glad I killed that creep.
And it is here Mike starts to put the pieces together. Just kidding, he does not.
You thought you had everything pretty much figured out, didn't you, Mikey boy? Well, I'd stop while I was ahead if I were you. The truth can be very ugly.
But he does learn that his closet that he thought was locked was never locked this whole time. All his life, his mom just told him it was locked because he gets weird around mirrors. Mike then traveled through the mirror of the Dark World from his closet, but for some reason there are parts that aren't dark. And Mike, he wants answers.
What do you know about your missing butcher knife?
Here, Mike. This will explain everything.
So then Mike talks to the floating foggy head of Rita, and she tells him Paul wasn't the shapeshifter, he's still out there.
This can't be real. Oh, Mommy, I hope you're okay.
Now you have to go kill that creature, because it has enough. It has enough dead, so it's going out to the real world. So you gotta kill it with a sword. And so you kill it and you defeat the ancients, and now the big twist. You have been the killer the whole time. Everyone was right for suspecting you, and Jack isn't real at all. He's just a different persona of you, like Tyler Durden in Fight Club. It turns out you killed Dr. Sims, well, as Jack. Which, like, Dr. Sims had a lot of warnings, and that you weren't, like, a safe person to be in public, but he didn't listen, so I'm not saying, oh, he had it coming, but, like, he had warnings, at least. Jack says he's the Dark World version of you, and you begin fighting, and once again, I don't know that I believe Jack is the Dark World version of you. I don't think Jack is real. I don't think the Dark World is real. I don't think you're okay mentally and that you did kill those people. Jack wins the fight and Mike Dawson is dead, and then proving my point further, the sheriff and deputy don't even acknowledge Jack is in the room, but they see Mike's dead body, and they for sure believe it's a suicide.
Looks like Mike offed the doctor and then offed himself. What a mess. Well, at least it's all over now.
And then there's this goofy scene of Jack riding off into the distance in the Dark World. And that was Darkseid 2. And well, I didn't make it sound that bad to play. It truly is. Too many times in the mirror maze, too much time trying to figure out what the hell to do, and way too specific of an order to have to do it in. And while I found the story of Darkseid 1 and 2 interesting in a weird and quirky way, the gameplay sucks ass. I at least enjoyed playing Harvester, but Darkseid 2 is not a fun game, even a little bit. I actually just recommend you watch someone else play rather than play yourself, because it will be a far better experience. All that being said though, I truly was fascinated by many aspects of these games, including having such a dorky main character. Who would think to do that? Not many people. But the dorkiness adds to the story. I don't know that I find these games scary, but they are very unique and quirky. And like I said, one day I'll do more point-and-click FMV type horror games, but this one drained me, man. I gotta take a break from this genre for a while.